Hey guys, Gregg Sharp. That's right. Clap, snap, point. We are back inside Arm Wrestling, the home for all arm wrestling news, sports, fitness, sports news, strength training news, competition news. You know, there used to be a character. His name was Gary Gnu. And he used to say, no GNUs is good GNUs with Gary Gnu. I can't really say that because then I'm not really a GNU. But we're back to Inside Arm Wrestling, folks. A little bit of dad humor. I remember that when my kids were growing up. So really cool memories here, giving you out there. Hopefully they resonate home with you. But more so often than not, we have topics to talk about Inside Arm Wrestling. However, before we get started with some of the topics that we want to talk about today, I want to thank, before I hit my knife and create a sponsor faux pas or a video faux pas, I want to thank one of our sponsors who have sent our seasonal and finals gear ahead of time. We really appreciate that sponsor, and that's Serious Steel Fitness. Serious Steel Fitness here for our second year. I'm leaving my glasses on for a second. I'm going to take them off with another snap, crackle, pop. There we go. Here we go. Look at that. Pretty ineffective. Bang, bang, bang. Take the glasses off. Serious Steel Fitness. Now, guys, the beautiful thing about our sponsors is they sponsor us because they know of the value that we present and because of where we're taking the sport in the direction. So they have sent me a slew, I believe that would be of the SLEW type slew, of bands. Don, they sent me some more smelling salts. God knows you will not be touching these. We don't need another Don Underwood smelling salt season 4 re-episode. Well, let me tell you something, guys. They sent me the mother load of bands and all kinds of, they actually sent me the original recovery stick. Oh, this thing is pretty real. This is really cool. Anthony, you'll be able to get some close-ups on that. This is a sprinter stick. This kind of, I'll be honest with you, I hate to give this thing away, or I'll probably maybe get one of these. But let me tell you something. Serious Steel Fitness, again, outdid themselves. A lot of these bands are going to be used in season 1 of the house. I'm going to put those down there. But this is called Zone Elite. Dry activated adrenal stimulant. I don't want to open it, guys. Actually, I don't. I'll probably pass out. And again, here's the knife. Seeing that they're coming out with Police Squad, somehow that knife will go up in the air, hit me in the trachea, and then I'll be speaking somehow with a little bit of a vibrator there, just because Police Squad is coming out. And listen, I'll be honest with you. Liam Nielsen as Frank Drebin is really not a good Frank Drebin. I'm going to leave it at that. So many other better Frank Drebins that could have been out there. I'm still kind of upset about it. I still watch it, but I'm still kind of upset about it. And I'll give a shameless plug. Accountant 2 is coming out April 25th. We don't get paid for any kind of this information, but The Accountant was a really good movie. Ben Affleck played a pretty good character, and he's come back with a second episode. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. However, you did not tune into Inside Arm Wrestling to hear about all the new movies coming out. You want to hear about arm wrestling, and man, oh man, we got a lot of arm wrestling to really give a shout out to. But I really want to start, and the reason why I preface that is because Anthony's going to cut this episode, and he's going to make this little speech of value that we could put out that's going to explain weight limits, weight categories, and how that affects regionals. So we're going to boom, boom, boom again. Here we go. That's kind of like a slate, as we say in the world of movies. So slating here, lots of questions. Lots of questions this year on weight classes, on regionals. What is World Series of Arm Wrestling doing? Well, Inside Arm Wrestling is going to tell you. We have not changed the dynamic of our weight classes. However, we have changed the dynamic of how you could qualify. And one of the things that we've heard over the past couple of years in qualifications is there's a lot of people who translatably through the season get larger and then look to make cuts for the finals. And what I mean is that there might be someone who's walks around at 255 but doesn't want to cut to 239 to qualify for 239. There might be somebody at 189 who would cut down to 176 that wouldn't want to qualify at 209 if they know they have to be in the 176 category. So what we're going to do this year, folks, and the first thing, and Anthony will put a little graphic number one. First thing we want to make sure that you understand is that you only have to make weight at the finals this year. That means you can go out and compete in any weight category that you want throughout the regionals, and you can pull in multiple weight categories if you want this year. It doesn't keep you from pulling in just a single category. So if we take Riverside this year, if you're a 176, a 209, a 239, or a super heavyweight, you can pull in 1, 2, or 3 different categories as long as you make that weight limit. However, when you come to the finals, you can only pull in one category. So if you pull in the 209s, then you typically walk around 198, but you want to drop down to the 176, you're able to do that for the finals this year. And the reason why we changed that is because this year we have what we call hosting regionals or satellite regionals that are not weight class identifiable. We start this season with Baja Mexicali. Gregg Brown's throwing a big tournament, a big output of thank yous from the southern half of our North American continent here, wanting to come up and qualify for the finals. So Gregg has 5, 6, 7 different weight classes in the pros, AMs, and women categories. So let's say Gregg is throwing a 154 category. He's throwing maybe, I don't have the flyer in front of me, but although I could find it. Let's do this for real, Anthony. If we look at Baja California and I click on it, they've got the kilogram. So I got to be fast on my feet. Looks like they got an 80 kilogram, which would be 176. They got a 100 kilogram, which would be 220. They've got 100 in. They've got, for amateur, a 221 plus. However, for pros, they got 76, 98, 220, 242, and 243 plus. So they have 5 weight classes on the pro side, left and right. Now, if you pull in the 198, typically that means maybe you could be a 76er, or you could be a 209er. If you pull in the 220s, maybe you're a 209er or a 239er. If you pull in the 242, maybe you're a super heavyweight or a 239 class. So what we're doing is we're taking it all out of that mix, right? What we're doing is we're no longer going to have in our regionals a designation of weight that you have to meet. All you have to do is come to a regional to qualify, and at that point, when you come to the finals, you can make weight. And I think that's the fairest way of doing it. Again, so many athletes says, man, it's really tough to cut weight twice, especially in the summer, and then have to do it in the late fall. So we'd rather try to get there one time and one time only. And again, that's the answer on how we're going to make this happen. We are going to do a weigh-in the day of the finals or the day before. And again, remember, because a lot of our regionals have different values of what the arm cost is going to be. In Baja California, I think that they have a $10 per arm because of the economics in Mexico, not being as affluent here as in Southern California. They're doing $10 per arm per weight class. What does that mean? It means that that's for that tournament. When you come up after you win, or I shouldn't say win, but after you qualify, you can come up for the finals. It's then $50 an arm, day of, per weight class in which you're pulling in. Now, for the hotel rooms, we're going to run that a little bit differently. This regional gets 8. So what Gregg Brown is going to do is he's going to allot 8 rooms. They are double beds, and he can put together a team from his regional and award them to those that want to travel. Those will be the allotment for his tournament. And again, because he has more weight classes than our standard 76, 209, 239, and super heavyweight, that is how he's going to make this work on his end. Now let's take a flip side, and we're going to go to the regional in Utah, in Ogden. Pulling for Perseverance for technical arms, Justin, he decided to use our weight classes. Keep it simple. Again, he decided to do $30 per arm on his. It doesn't affect us. It's still $50 down here. $30, all proceeds donated to the Stallion Suicide Support. He's got the 76, 77 to 209, 239 to 240. In his tournament, folks, he wants to award the hotel rooms to those weight class winners. So, again, a little bit different. Then we go out to Kansas City. Kansas City flyer hasn't been posted yet. But again, Ryan Johnson's going to be doing multiple weight classes. He's going to have a team level of hotel rooms. Travis, who's doing Chicago and Virginia, again, he's going to use his weight classes based upon the WSA model. Riverside and Jacksonville are going to be the WSA model. We're going to hold true to those weight class winners getting hotel rooms. So all in all, folks, what we've done this year is we've changed it so that you only have to make weight in the category in which you want to pull at the finals only. And we're opening it up so that way those who are doing regionals outside of the normal WSA rules and events can pull in multiple categories. I think that's fair. A lot of guys come to compete. In the past, we've only had them be able to compete in one weight class. We're going to change it this year around. So, having said all that, I hope that answers those questions. Gregg Brown is doing a great job promoting his tournament. I got to be honest with you. I really enjoyed Gregg's friendship as well as his value in the arm wrestling world, as well as all of our other hosts there. It's very important that we shout that out. The Justin Greens, the Ryan Johnstons, the Gregg Sharps. Oh, the Gregg Sharps. The Gregg Sharps, did I say anything? I'm looking at that camera. The Don Underwoods, the Mike Bismans, the Steve Blacks, the Mike Moody's out there. The guys that are really putting it out there, combining their efforts with us, we really appreciate it, and they should be commended for doing that. Okay, so the next topic here on WSA. Many of you saw this week that I met with the Native Youth Foundation. It's a nationwide foundation for our Native American community, and WSA is moving forward with our abilities to work with the Native American tribes across the country, bring arm wrestling on a big end to their communities, and do it in a way that we're going to create an indigenous national championship here in 2026 and beyond. It's going to take a little work, folks. I'd like to think that we're probably 12 to 18 months away from really dialing it in terms of the national championship dates. However, between now and then, we're going to be setting up tournaments that are really going to support that endeavor. So look for more on that. I'm going to be actually at a festival this weekend, meeting with a lot of tribal leaders in the Southern California area, as well as some very influential people in the Native American community that will hopefully help and get behind this initiative, because what's better than arm wrestling, especially a sport that we love to do. Kind of our last thing that I want to talk about, guys, Riverside is almost 60 days away. Riverside is going to be a unique thing. We're going to actually do some unique production there. We're going to kick off Riverside at 12 o'clock on that Saturday with a Hollywood versus Hollywood super match for charity, in which we're going to have two teams. One team from Billboards Inc. and another team from the Hollywood scene that's going to match up one-on-one, womano a womano. Is that how you say woman on woman? Woman versus woman? How do you say that, Anthony?
Woman versus mujer contra mujer.
Okay, exactly what Anthony said, but I like the womano es womano, right? Mano es mano? Is that how you say it? Mano es mano? Mano a mano? Okay, well, mano a womano. So, of course, that's not how you say it, folks, but that's okay. Anthony is cracking up right now. If I had one of those ChatGPT earpieces, I'd still get it wrong. So don't worry about it. And even if you're listening to one on there and trying to figure out what I just said, you're really going to be screwed up. Might be time for you to get that therapist session here before the weekend hits and get your head straight. Now, I'm going to sneeze. So, Anthony, you're going to have to edit this.
Womano.
All right, I'm back. So, what you did see, folks, is that I sneezed, and it was a couple hard sneezes. So, I'm back, a little bit teary-eyed, but that's okay. Moving on. Also, at our first regional, folks, this is going to be the first time that you're going to hear this. It won't be the last. We have embarked on creating a movie. We have a script That script is being fine-tuned in versions. We are going to have a casting call on June 28th at the Lake Alice Bar and Grill. If you want to be considered in the movie that we'll be shooting through this season and next, I'm not going to release the name of the movie, but we are looking for characters. So if you have an interest, if you have a character, if you thought about a character, if you wanted to be a character, this would be the time for you to come down. Show us what you have. We're going to give you a 30 to 45-second read. And during that read, we're going to take you on film. We're going to do some headshots of you. And then we're going to start looking at casting the movie. Folks, it's going to be a great time. Let me tell you something. We are still working in a direction to get a sequel awarded to us, although maybe the financial bearing of that may or may not work out. The fact is we're going to be doing a movie here in the World Series of Arm Wrestling, for the world of arm wrestling, and that is going to be shot here between now and 2026 to be released hopefully late winter 2026 or early spring 2027. And I can tell you the script is going to look, the script is great and the show is going to be amazing. It'll be a full feature film, and we may release it on a limited release in the theaters. So wait for that, folks. It's extremely, extremely exciting. Also, last but not least with WSA, November 1st is our finals. You guys have seen the prize money out there. That is locked in. We do have a few more sponsors that have made some commitments, but have not sent us the check. If those sponsors come through with the check, that prize money is going to go up. And if not, we are still more than ever and more than any the largest tournament arm wrestling payout here now globally. And we are super excited for you to be a participant at that November 1st final here in San Diego. Now, what we want to do now is get into some news, guys. Listen, East versus West here a couple of weeks ago in Arlington. Not a lot of, I'll be honest with you, I want to say excitement that went into that show. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in just really an honest, objective way. We've seen a lot of marketing and advertising for events in the past with East versus West. I think the card itself was a fun card. I don't know that it was an East versus West card. It seemed to be more of a hometown feel to it. Not to do any, not to create any kind of critique on what that looked like in terms of card value. I just didn't see a lot of international, what do I want to say, excitement. I think maybe that's the word I want to use. I mean, certainly there were some matches there, and we did a couple of reviews on it and previews on it. But ultimately, I think the takeaway was their stage and their production was incredible. I will say that, listen, we are in the world of objectivity and business. Kudos to the production staff who put that stage together and put that experience together. We are working in that direction for the finals, but it was really good to see their version of that, so we could kind of take that now on our end and see how we can do it to modify our needs and our values to be able to bring that to tournament arm wrestling. So kudos to the production team on there. Again, I don't know that the card was the excitable card of a Levon versus Devin or something on that aspect of levels. But I will say, anytime you get to see arm wrestling, kudos to the guys who competed, the guys who won. I'm sure that the experience for those who didn't was just as valuable, and hopefully they take that and start running with it and getting to the point where they find that they can get that valued win experience in the event itself. So, guys, great job out there. Always a fan, and I think that the level of arm wrestling continues to rise and bring in something that's certainly that people want to see, not just on YouTube, but beyond. So, having said that, I want to kind of get into the May 10th card in Istanbul, which I think for King of the Table, to be honest with you, I think that this is maybe one of the better matchup King of the Table cards. And when I say that, I think more relevant arm wrestling is on this card versus what we'll call hyped arm wrestling. And I love the hype arm wrestling. I mean, how do you beat Brian versus Eddie? It's impossible. Kudos to Don Adrice out there and his team, Hannah, who put all that together. That card was phenomenal. That was probably the best King of the Table card that we've seen in a long time. And kudos to Don and Hannah for actually matchmaking that card. When you put it down on paper, those guys did a great job bringing the right matches in. But as we've seen, that team has moved away from King of the Table. This is now an East versus West entity owned by Robert Baxter. And to look at this card, I think the card has a little bit of value to it. I like the Petro versus Lachlan match. That to me is a really good matchup. I think Lachlan is dialed in. I do get to say hi to Lachlan every once in a while via the social media platforms. He's a super cool guy. Still the biggest legs I think I've ever seen on an arm wrestler. I still want to say that if he's a 220 to 240 pound arm wrestler light heavyweight, that he's probably a comfortable 189 if he had regular arm wrestler legs. But his legs are like tree trunks. And from what I understand from Lachlan, he doesn't work them out, which is even scarier. He's built like a linebacker and a half. I think the other interesting matchup to me is the Georgie versus David, the Dickian fight or arm wrestling match. And the reason I say that is I want to say that David is now moving up in weight class. I'm pretty sure that is the case. I want to say that he was a heavyweight. Now he's a super heavyweight. So that's an interesting match because Georgie is certainly a world elite arm wrestler. David is definitely a strong, incredible arm wrestler, but maybe has seen that his notoriety in the sport has maybe not been what it should be because he's arm wrestling in lighter classes that are unknown to really the normal enthusiast of arm wrestling. If you look at arm wrestling, certainly super heavyweights are what people normally gravitate to. I think David has maybe figured that out, that he needs to be up in weight. So it'll be interesting to see what this guy looks like because he was a brick outhouse before, so he might be a brick outhouse condominium with the extra size. So interested to see what that looks like. Paul Lynn versus David. I don't know. I like this matchup for Paul. I'll be honest with you. Again, I love Paul Lynn. Met him a few times. Maybe one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I just don't know that this is another good matchup for him, and I don't know what a good matchup for Paul Lynn is anymore. I hope Paul makes me eat those words. Samushia is really a great middleweight. Again, I don't know where this one goes. I'm hoping that Paul comes in ready. I know he battled Krasny last time, and he was just he was not ready for that match. And again, it's always hard for American or U.S. or North American arm wrestlers to try to match up against European arm wrestlers, especially those on the world stage. They're pulling a lot better competition more consistently. It's a very, very tough matchup for Paul. In my loyalty and my nationalism says I want Paul to win, but my common sense might say he might be overmatched in this. Jocelyn Brisson, after beating Sarah Backman very confidently and comfortably, is now versus Egle. And again, I think this is a really good matchup for Jocelyn. It's going to put her in a position to really understand where she is, not only continent to continent, but on the world stage. I like this open weight battle for her, and I am a Jocelyn fan. I've never met her personally other than to pass by her, but I like the way she arm wrestles, and she seems like a really, really sweetheart. So we're going to stay with Jocelyn. I'm sure that there's a lot of other opinions on this one, but Jocelyn is where we're going to go. The Menashenko versus the Kelachenko match. I don't know enough about these two guys. Right arm heavyweight could probably go either way. A lot of these matches, guys. Let's be honest. Let's take a moment of honesty. A lot of these matches really will dial into where they are in their cycle at that day. So I'm assuming these guys are both going to peak at the same time. Who knows who's going to be that actual winner? Flip a coin. I'll flip a coin. I really don't have a dog in the fight to give an opinion on either one. But it'll be a fun match to watch. Todd Hutchins versus Rustam. I don't get this match. I'm going to be real honest with you. I don't get this matchup at all. I think Rustam is. Excuse me there as I'm clearing my throat from sneezing. I really think Rustam is overmatched here. I don't know that this is a good match for him. I could be extremely wrong. I think that Todd is a more steady and a stronger middleweight. Rustam to me is still maybe a lighter weight arm wrestler. He's a world champion, man. The guy's taken down some big names over his years. And nothing against him. He's probably a Hall of Famer on anybody's first card. I just think Todd may be just too strong for him. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is a better matchup than it seems. I just think Todd is too much on this one. But we'll see. It is a world title. I think that it's hard, man. I don't think this is a tough match for Todd on any way, shape, or form. I think he wins this one 3-0. If it's a best of 7, I think he wins this one 4-0. And then the last one with Camille and Georgie. Again, I don't really have much to say on this super heavyweight left arm. Left arms are a little bit less predictable for me, simply because I don't follow left arm wrestling per se. But I think it's a good name-wise for the Istanbul area. I think there's going to be some value in terms of why they're arm wrestling, and I think it could be a good fanfare kind of match. The last match, Nagzari versus Matt Mask in a right arm light heavyweight. I'm a Matt Mask fan. I don't care who they put him up against. I'm always going to root for him. So, yeah, Matt Mask. That's my take on that one. I think that's an easy one for me to predict. So we're looking at Istanbul, Turkey. We're looking at May 10th. I'm sure that there'll be a pay-per-view link out there. I don't see one yet here on the table, but all in all, folks, I think it's a very exciting match, a matchup. I think it's one of the better strategically matched King of the Tables, but I think in terms of fanfare, that last Eddie Hall versus Brian Shaw is really the top King of the Table experience. And without knowing all the numbers behind the scenes, I got to think that was their biggest grossing arm wrestling pay-per-view in a while for King of the Table. So great to see King of the Table back. Hopefully they're successful. They've got some things they're cleaning up on that end. So hopefully this is a good one that puts King of the Table back on the right path. And in terms of consistency after the last one, and off they go, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. And it looks like they're going to have some sort of frequency with King of the Table and East versus West, which is great to see as well. All right, folks. So we've kind of gone on our platforms in terms of, or gone around the platform. We talked a little bit today about East versus West. We kind of gave you that overview on what's coming up here for the next couple of months with our tournaments. We definitely went over the fact that we have a weight class variable and variance and how we're going to attack that at the finals. And of course, we wanted a big thanks to our Serious Steel Fitness team for getting right back with us another year this year. The great thing that we've seen now over the course of the last 4 years with our promotion is we continue to have a consistency with our sponsors, which means we continue to deliver them the excellence in which they are asking for, not only in a tournament aspect, but on the streams and in the presence and getting them seen and aware and affecting their bottom line in a positive way. So thank you, Serious Steel Fitness, for still believing that Serious Steel Fitness belongs in the arm wrestling world, because we believe you should be here as well. And folks, that wraps it up for another episode of Inside Arm Wrestling. God, you know what, Anthony? It is almost summertime out here. You know, Memorial Day is right around the corner. Are you doing anything for Memorial Day, Anthony? No, nothing fun. Going down to the beach?
Sure.
Putting a pair of those board shorts on, grabbing a board, anything like that?
Yeah, we'll try that. Why not?
Anthony is all for it, folks. Remember, the house is coming out. We're going to start shooting the house in late September, so that's exciting too. I forgot to really touch on that, but we'll touch on it next time. This has been another episode of Inside Arm Wrestling. Remember to train hard, eat well, lift strong. I don't really know. Anthony, please get me some sort of cheat sheet here. Whatever it is, dub it in afterwards. Clap, snap, point. Guys, have a great Easter, whatever holidays that you're enjoying here, the Passover holidays. And we will see you next week on Inside Arm Wrestling.